Apple is a company that we all know. We don't necessarily love it or love all the things they do or even agree with all of their choices, but they're one of the most popular and richest tech companies on the entire planet, so they're worthy of talking about. Now, every year they put out a new iPhone, and every year there's been rumors of what the new iPhone's going to have and what's going to be in it, what kind of new features will be included. And I thought I'd tell you guys what's on my wish list for the iPhone 6 or the next generation iPhone. What do I think Apple should include? This is my list for exactly that. So the first thing is, don't call it the iPhone 6. Why? Because that would be the 8th generation iPhone. Think about it. You have the first iPhone. Then you have the iPhone 3G, the 3GS, the iPhone 4, the 4S, which makes the iPhone 5 the 6th iPhone, and the iPhone 5S the 7th. And we're not counting the 5C because that's not like a flagship, like a major phone. It was a replacement for the 5. That's all it was. It was the iPhone 5 in a plastic case. So we're not counting the 5C. So that makes the 5S the 7th iPhone, which would make this year's the 8th iPhone, which would be really, really odd if they called it the iPhone 6, because that it's just, the numbering system is just going to be way off. So don't call it the iPhone 6. I think they should call it the iPhone Air, because they're probably going to make it thinner and lighter like they do every other year pretty much. So if they do that, call it the iPhone Air. Fantastic. Everything works out really, really well. New name. You don't have a messed up numbering system. Now, along with doing that, if they do make it thinner and lighter, they also need to give it a bigger display. Come on, Apple. You have the smallest flagship display on the market. The iPhone 5S has a 4-inch screen compared to the Nexus 5 with a 5-inch screen, the Galaxy S4 with a 5.1-inch screen, the Galaxy Note 3 with a 5.7-inch screen, the HTC One M8 with a 5-point-something-inch screen. Everything has a much bigger screen than Apple does, and people are happy with it. So, Apple, you need to take a risk, because just because you increase the size of your screen, people aren't going to not like you, because it's not like they're going to go somewhere that makes a smaller screen, because nobody makes a smaller screen. Nobody else is stupid enough to make such a tiny screen. Come on, Apple. Think. Yeah, you're laughing. I like ranting.
It's funny because I have a perfect view of you from right here.
Now, along with the bigger display, Apple has been rumored to have 2 iPhones come out this year, a 4.7-inch and a 5.5-inch iPhone. If they do that, they could call the 4.7-inch something, and then the 5.5-inch the iPhone Air. The 4.7-inch could be the $100 model, and the 5.5-inch could be the $200 model. Of course, that would be with a contract. I don't know exactly what they would do, but if they do that, they still need, at least the screens are bigger. But I still think 4.7 inches is too small. So I think they should just release one 5-inch screened iPhone. Alright, so one thing that I don't think they will include, but it'd be nice if they did, was NFC, Near Field Communication. I did a video on NFC technology, and it's an Explained Series video. You can click right here, this TV, to watch it, because I just explained what NFC was. To put it simply, it's just, you get chips and you program it, you do quick settings, and you can swipe your phone over it. So let's say you programmed it to do turn down brightness all the way, turn off Wi-Fi, turn on cellular data, and anything else that you would want it to. You program that, and when the phone's NFC receiver detects that chip that you programmed it will do all of those things instantly, and it's awesome. A lot of Android phones have this, a lot of Windows phones have this. So if Apple were to do this, it would kind of give them a nice, like, hey, Apple has this too. But I don't think they will, because they have AirDrop. That was kind of their play at the WWDC last year, where they introduced AirDrop in iOS 7 and to share documents. And they made a play on those Galaxy S3 commercials where they touch the phones together to share a playlist. They're like, hey, there's no need to go bumping your phone with everybody. So they are kind of making fun of it. So will they include NFC? I doubt it, but it would be really, really nice if they did, because that's something that pretty much everybody else does. The next thing is they need to have a higher resolution display. So Retina display, it's not horrible, but it's on the lower end of things. Like, it's not 1080p, and it's not anywhere near, you know, anything above that. Like, some phones have more than 1080p. So if Apple could at least put a 1080p display in the next iPhone, that'll be awesome, because it'll be a bigger screen that would really give them the leading edge. If they have a 5-inch 1080p display, that'd be really, really nice. Much better than a 4-inch, you know, Retina display. So that's something that I think they really should do, is have at the very least a 1080p display in the next iPhone, and that is something I could see them doing. Now the next thing is have a little bit faster of a processor. Now Apple phones aren't that slow, but the one thing they also need to do, like to coincide with this, they need a faster processor to run. What they really need to do is to give iOS another major overhaul. Now, they might not do it this year because they just did it last year with iOS 7. So this processor might have to come next year. But, like, Apple's processors would, if they can optimize it to run faster and better, then they can make iOS more complicated and do more things and be more efficient. Because iOS as it is, it's far inferior to Windows and Android. You can't do much with it. It's boring, it's plain, and if they change it to be like Android, to have like some sort of information widget type thing on it, or even Windows with some sort of live info tile, then Apple would be a lot better off if they could do that. So if they make a faster processor, they can make those changes to iOS. And this is a minor thing that's really like on the techie side of things, like the average consumer is not really going to give a crap about this, but it would just be really nice if they do that. Another thing is, if they do the bigger phone, they are going to need a bigger battery, because it's a bigger display with more pixels and a faster processor, hopefully, based on that last one. So if they just make a bigger battery and a better battery, more efficient, that'll be fantastic, because iPhones don't get that great of battery life when you use it a lot, and especially since they purposely like let the battery get killed faster and faster on older models. I don't like that. They need to stop doing that, because like they do that to try to make you upgrade. But hey, I'm sorry, Apple, I can't. I'm locked into a 2-year contract. So I really, really hate that about Apple. That's something I really hate that they do. I'm not saying no other company does it, but I'm saying I use Apple and I notice it, and it's very annoying. So Apple, these things I just listed, if you could put them in the next iPhone, that's what I'm wishing for. So guys, that's the entire video. Like this, subscribe, do what you gotta do. I will see you next Sunday. Making fun of it. So will they include NFC? I doubt it. But it would be really, really nice if they did, because that's something that like pretty much everybody else does. Maybe they don't want to be hipsters. Maybe they think it's too mainstream. Do you even know what I'm talking about? Do you even know what I'm talking about, or did you zone out?
All I heard was hipsters.
Turn down brightness all the way. Turn off Wi-Fi. Turn on cellular data. Turn on cellular data.